We are. The whole gang is here.
Hey, y'all.
That's right. Everybody say hey before somebody's battery dies. So, any fun, nerdy sci-fi adventures this week?
I've been rewatching Deep Space Nine in parallel to Babylon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. Lots of cool pairs. We already talked about, but whatever.
Yeah. I started watching season 5 of Stranger Things, and it's really cool. I think it's funny that people make fun of how long it's taking them to get this season done. I'm gonna say I'm glad that it was done and recorded, because Netflix is ridiculous, and the fact that we even got 5 seasons is a miracle. Because if I'm right, didn't Netflix want to cancel the show in like season 3 or something like that?
Netflix crazy. I would believe that.
Yeah.
And then
yes, the kids are older. That's fine as long as it's the same characters.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Oh, like y'all need to just come back and make it in the 90s. Then.
I mean, honestly, they could have. There are some timeline issues there, but I'm not gonna jump into that. Maybe we have someone who will discuss with us Stranger Things in the future. Maybe we can find a Stranger Things enthusiast that can guide us through it, and we can have fun with that.
Yeah. I wanted to rewatch the other 3 seasons before, because it has been a while.
Yeah. And you know what? That's a good choice, because they do reference seasons 3 and 4. Actually, they reference all the seasons, but they do spend a good amount of time putting some highlight on 3 and 4 for season 5. So no spoilers, just letting folks know, if you do watch it, get a refresher. They probably already watched the whole thing by the time this comes out. So, but yeah, get a refresher, watch it again. So we are here for episode 14 of season 5, entitled Meditations on the Abyss. And this is actually a really good episode too. The last episode, the one with Bester, seemed like it was a pilot for a new show. This one kind of gives pilot vibes and stuff too. Like it's like if the whole show went down this thread, this would be such a good show too. So that shows how awesome the writing for these episodes have been. It seems like they're starting something, but really for this episode, they are, I don't know what it is. They are visiting a story thread that they weaved in season 4 that I don't really care for, but it is written very nicely. So we can get into there. And then they also reference a couple of things that's been kind of hanging out there for a couple of seasons. For instance, Jakar's eye. When he got his prosthetic eye the first time, it was human colored, so it's like bluish grayish, while the other eye is red. And so they address that and they fix it. And when we get to that scene, I'm gonna just share what I think is funny. And then the elephant in the room, the thing that I don't like, even though they are really trying to push this down our throats, Lennier. Lennier's turn as a character, that is not so much fun, because they did have a really awesome character fully developed that was expressing platonic care and love for his friend. And what do? They turn it on us, and it's like, nope, he's actually like romantically in love, and he's jealous, and he is a coward. So they picked that up here.
It really feels like we're getting to know the characters. So like when you pull things from their past, it's just us understanding where they're coming from. It doesn't like make it a whole new story with new people to get to know, or these people are just randomly doing new things now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know what? No Captain Lockley.
Oh yeah.
And I like Captain Lockley, and she's hardly in this show. It's unfortunate.
I think she's just filling in for the fact that Sheridan has a new job.
Yeah, and Ivanova's not there, which I think I did this last episode, but I'm gonna do it again. My apologies for pronouncing Claudia Christian's name poorly in previous episodes. I absolutely respect that actress. I follow her on Facebook. She's an amazing person. Um, I also want to give a shout out to Patricia Talman, who played Lita. She's an awesome actress. She's doing some fun things. Buy their books, or check out. They got some books and stuff. Nobody's paying me for that, but check them out.
I was really
Okay.
liking the development of what would be kind of like our our B line characters, I guess, because you've got the main characters in Delenn and Jakar and Sheridan and whatever Londo, right? But all of their supporting characters in Vir and Lennier, they got really focused attention on them, and it is showing like the progression of their path in the verse of Babylon. And I am I understanding that this is the final season. There's not another one after this.
Right. Yeah, they end this show with this season.
So like
there is a couple other spin-off attempts, but they're not so great.
And as Damian is mentioning, in the attempt of if they ever did something to spin off, they are setting them up to have like breath and space to evolve. And this episode, they did that very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess if we wanted to kind of look at the whole status of everything, the show focuses on Delenn and Lennier, like a lot on Lennier. We get central focus on Jakar, a lot on Londo, and then like pretty much at the very end is when we even see a human character. We get President Sheridan. Zach Allen is in there. Franklin's in there, but he's the greatest human in the galaxy, so of course he's there. And like the show ends on Garibaldi, and it does that because it's setting up an important storyline with him. Not something that we have not seen before, but I think it is something that has been earned for this character. And I'm gonna go ahead and give some grace because he finally did something that is earned. So when we get there, you all will see. We open up. Delenn is sneaking around in her bed because she can't sleep. And of course, Sheridan is like, "Hey, what are you doing? Where are you going?" And she's like, "Oh, it's nothing." She's trying to sneak away and not, give him any idea of what she's really doing, because it's not that she can't sleep. She planned this. And what she planned is she's going to sneak down to one of the noisy nightclubs. I guess this is down below or this is in Brown Sector. I don't know. She's in the seedy part of the station and it's loud music. And this guy comes and harasses her and like he's pouring on the misogyny, right? He starts off super nice and then he immediately says, "Now, you need to understand one thing. You're going to be waking up next to me one way or another." And yeah. Right? Yeah. I like the way that they depicted this because he grabs her hand and she's trying to pull away, but then she stops and she slowly like gives into his grasp and he's all like, "Yeah, that's more like it." And then she hooks her finger on his middle finger and he's starting to look like, "Oh yeah, she understands the program. She's going with it." And then lady just flicks her wrist and breaks his finger. Just pow. Real easy. And he's in immediate pain. He's like, "Yeah, you broke my finger." And it's like, "Oh, really? Did she? Did she now?" Is that what happened?
Oh, did she not have to do that?
Right. Did she not read the script? I feel like it's great to find, these are CD characters and we have a woman character, which we don't necessarily associate Delenn with being a warrior, but she has fought wars. In fact, can we remember, let's remind everybody in the audience, Delenn's the reason for the Earth Minbari War. She is bloodthirsty when she wants to be, right? Mm-hmm. And so she flicks her wrist, she breaks his hand, and he's flailing around. He wants to fight her, but then a hooded figure comes out of nowhere and karate kicks and punches him all over the place. my thought is, if this is supposed to be like a clandestine meeting, they sure are making a lot of noise and attracting a lot of attention with this bar fight. And then they sneak off, and who is the hooded figure? It is Lennier. And the bar fight finally makes a lot of sense because that's all he knows on Babylon 5.
I remember his first fight was that when what's the detective's name took him to no, not Londo, the other one.
Garibaldi?
Yes, Garibaldi took him to a bar. I'm pretty sure, and they were talking, or was it Londo? One of the two of them took him and
it had to be Londo. I think it was Londo.
What's happening? What's going on? And he just really got him into a bad situation. And they got into a whole fight. It was wild. And that was back when it was so innocent.
Yeah.
Oh, Lennier.
Like, I can't drink. And he goes, oh, there's no alcohol in that. And it was clearly alcohol. And he's like drunk and somebody came by and then he go beat the crap out of them.
And they were in they went to a casino, they went to a strip club. Man, Lennier be learning some things about the darker sides of things. Basically, it's Lennier in Sin City in Vegas. So we get the explanation of why Delenn wants Lennier there. She requires the utmost secrecy. They're like ducked down in like a tunnel somewhere under a floor. Like, they are deep. And Lennier's like, why are we even here? Like,
what in the hole?
Like, you could have just called me.
Didn't he call her though? Like, but that wasn't a communication device. That was more like a pager. You need an intergalactic,
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. An intergalactic pager. She explained, I couldn't risk having like a coded message or anything like that. We needed to talk because people are snooping around. Here's the deal. We think that the Centauri are behind the attacks on all the other worlds. We don't know yet. We want to confirm it. We're not going to say anything because we don't want to start no stuff here until we have confirmation. And they discuss why she's not telling Sheridan. And she says Sheridan is probably the main reason why they're being so secretive, because Sheridan would want to do things to protect her. And Lennier has this grimace on his face. He's just like, I thought you were going to say something else. Again, I don't like this part of his story development, but it is kind of funny. Delenn explains that Sheridan would want to protect her, and Lennier's like, see, he doesn't know you as well as he thinks he does. Which means Delenn is fine with being in danger. Like, she doesn't need to be protected. But then she follows it up saying, like, he knows me, but he loves me. He would try. He knows that I'm used to danger because he's always watched her walk face first into danger with no weapons by herself. He knows me, but he loves me. And one gets in the way of the other. And I thought that was a pretty great way to explain that. Like, yeah, he knows, he just can't help himself. And so she explains to Lennier that he's going to go to the White Star. Lennier tells Delenn about when Morden was the one that came to him during the Day of the Dead prophecy and told him that he was going to betray the Lashak. And she was like, what could make you betray the Lashak? And he's like, I don't know. But he's looking right at her. So extremely unsubtle foretelling, right? And so what I'll say, I don't like that this is what's going on with Lennier. We switch and Londo's in his quarters. He's finally on the station. And Vir walks in the door and his arms are just packed with shopping bags. And he talks about him. He went to buy everything because Londo was going away and there was nothing fresh. And Londo was like, nothing's fresh. If there's nothing here, what have you been eating? What have you been eating, Vir? And Vir's like, oh, well, I had. And then he just couldn't bear. He's like, I've been eating at McBarry's. And, this is one of the Babylon 5 jokes. I actually think this one lands better. Mm-hmm. And this is Babylon 5's version of fast food. Big Barry's is like a McDonald's proxy. Mm-hmm. And apparently the Centauri are not biologically equipped to eat fast food, but he loves it anyway, which again is a nice joke on McDonald's because nobody's biologically equipped to eat fast food, y'all. That stuff is not being processed correctly in your systems. And during this conversation, Londo's bug detector goes off and he's just like, what? And the bug is stuffed in one of the folds of the bags, and they find it. And then Londo asks, like, where did you get all this stuff? And Vir goes, oh, I got it from a Drazi fruit merchant. And what they do is they just kind of like pretend that they didn't find it and they're having a conversation. But this is where Londo starts to joke about the Drazi. He's like, oh yes, you got to be careful about the Drazi. They're such, they're so inept. Their women want to mate with almost any other species in the galaxy just to get away from their men. They riff on this for a few minutes, and then Londo breaks the bug, and then he informs Vir. He's like, we can't have anything like this going on considering your position. And Vir's like, my position? What do you mean my position? He goes, yeah, since I'm going to be the emperor, you're going to be the new ambassador to Babylon 5. And in a shock, well, nobody was actually shocked about that. Well, I don't know. Were we? Did we think that Vir was going to stay with Londo?
No. Well, I thought he would probably be the next ambassador. Or did I just watch it?
I mean,
time and knew. Oh. Or maybe,
I mean, I don't know.
Memories of watching it long ago.
Possibly. There's also, we know that Vir becomes an emperor at some point, which means Londo has to die. So something has to happen. I don't know. It wasn't so very surprising to me, but it was apparently surprising to Vir. We switch and we see that Lennier is arriving on the White Star 27, captained by Enrique Montoya. You killed my father. No, that's Indigo Montoya. Anyway, and he also meets trainee Findel, and this, they get an introduction about the ship and the captain, how Lennier asks about why is this ship, what did he call the ship? Maria?
His sister.
Yeah. And he goes, oh, so where's Maria now? And the captain's like, oh, in heaven with God. And Lennier's like, oh, well, I've asked a terrible question. And Vindel is like, no, it's not bad. The captain encourages us to ask these type of questions so we can know things. It's not bad. So we're going to be sticking with these characters throughout this episode. So the fact that the dude got it, these characters got names is kind of cool. Enrique Montoya and Findel. Findel has, so Findel is a Minbari, and he has head bones that reminds me of the warrior caste Minbari. Keep that in mind. All right, back on Babylon 5, Jakar, he's super excited. He's like, Franklin got back with me and my new prosthetic eye is in, and I'm super excited about that. While that's going on, they're having a council meeting. And the Drazi ambassador is accusing he's saying like, hey, so you guys are working on this attack situation, right? Talking to Delenn and Sheridan. And they're like, yeah, we're still working on it. We're still doing an investigation. And he goes, hey, so like, if you do find some information, if you do find evidence, you will use this against whoever it is that's behind these attacks, right? And this is where they're really trying their hardest to hold the Drazi back. The thing is, the Drazi is right, but at the same time, the Drazi characters are pieces of shit in this show. So it's like, man, we need to keep these people calm. Like, they need to chill out.
Yeah, the Drazi aren't going to be discreet about anything.
Absolutely not.
There's no tact. Correct. They're just going to start a war.
Yeah, they ready to fight now.
That's how they think they're Democrats. They're diplomats.
They're leaders. Yeah.
Fight.
Right. Just as they're having that conversation, Londo walks in and he's just like, the Drazi I see. And he goes, somebody did something extremely stupid because they're dumb. And they tried to bug my quarters and they tried to spy on my government. Would anyone in this room be that dumb? Oh, hi there, Drazi Ambassador. How are you?
This scene reminded me of another a real life leader who's been calling people dumb.
Oh, one of the
Who,
is it
Mandami?
Donald Trump or one of the African leaders?
No, it's the Cheeto.
What?
The Cheeto.
Oh, the Cheeto.
Yeah.
He can barely follow a sentence with another sentence and stay coherent. So,
but that moment just reminded me of him for a moment. It's like,
yeah. He's the Londo is gloating about like, ha ha ha! I figured out your plan, but it's whatever. The Cheeto. I laugh so hard in my mind when you say that. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. But everyone is realizing like, okay, the Drazi are figuring it out. And to tell the truth, the Drazi are kind of like the dumbest ones on the council. With them figuring out, it has to be obvious. So we got to hurry up and get this figured out. I don't know where this scene lands, but it's in here somewhere. When Jakar actually has his eye replaced. He's in med lab and we see him sitting in the chair and Franklin is pulling out one eye and putting in the other one. One, I think it's great what they did, but I also laugh so hard at it because half of the scene is Andreas sitting there emoting and talking, and the other half is a dummy head that they pull the eye out of that doesn't move.
Yeah, it's kind of like
and then they put the eye back in.
I thought it was like a mask that they put over his face so that I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like you can tell the difference. Because Andreas he emotes. He's an actor. He acts with his face. But I think they did a great job here. It's just that you don't have to do much to notice. I don't think it ruins your suspension of disbelief. It's just one of those things like, wait a minute, he's actually pulling that eye out. What am I looking at? And it's like, oh, there's no motion. What is it? A replica head? A replica? They like molded his face,
or they put a mask of his face over his face.
Yeah, something
that would have been cheaper to make than a whole mold.
Right.
Yeah. So, and his other eye, I think, blinked a little bit, and it wouldn't make sense if someone was going in with pliers to pull your eye out. You wouldn't really be moving, especially when it was consensual. And he can take that thing out whenever he wanted to. Franklin, they went overboard. Franklin could have just like, hey, can you hand me your eye?
Right. Nah, but he went in there with those little, I don't even know what those were.
Like what, I was thinking of like the ones you use for cooking.
Yeah. Tongs.
Yeah, tongs.
Yeah.
The tongs is around. Yeah. Like, I gotta be sanitary about this when you've been just plucking it out to sneak on people on their honeymoon.
Just bloop. But I thought that scene was great. And during that scene, they are talking about why Franklin is interested in Jakar's book, the Book of Jakar. And Jakar is like, why would you even be interested in it? And Franklin explains like, yeah, I'm a foundationalist. And, our view on spirituality is that all of these religions reveal like some truth, like they all overlap and reveal some truth. And I like to learn about these things. And he asks him like, okay, so I have a question about your book. On this page, there is a circle on it, and I wanted to know what that was about. And Jakar's like, so our books are copied word for word. Everything is copied, even the mistakes in the pages. And what you see is a coffee stain from Mr. Garibaldi. And he claims that's the best part of the book. And they have a little laugh there. But that's when he invites Franklin to attend one of his discussions because people keep wanting to hear from him, and people as in the other Narn. There are so many aliens in this episode, by the way. Yeah, he says the book wasn't even supposed to come out until after I'm dead. Like, this is actually embarrassing right now. This is a situation where Jakar has to accept his notoriety. This is all part of his change from being this anti-hero to being kind of a revered spiritual leader. And I have some things to think about that, but we'll get there shortly when that scene pops up. But we switch back and we see that Lennier and Findel, they are given a mission. So they're being evaluated. Because remember, Lennier, he's embedded with these Rangers as if he's a new trainee, which is so wild because he's like, bro has fought in like more than one war. He's ready, but we're playing pretend. They're sent out in their like spaceships as to scout this area. And as soon as they get to their location, the White Star just takes off. It opens up a hyperspace tunnel and leaves. And they're all like, what? Why do they leave? Can't they hear us? And they're upset. Well, they're frantic because they notice that the air supply in their ships, instead of it being full, they're down to 15%, which means they only have about an hour of air, and they've been abandoned. So let's do an equivalent. An equivalent is you just got put out on a inflatable raft after a submarine dropped you off, and then when you realize like, oh shoot, these rafts got holes in them, the submarine just goes. It just dives and takes off, and there you are in the middle of the vast ocean, all alone.
Yeah,
and that's them.
I was definitely thinking about the desert, and it's like sun's getting real low. And it's getting real fucking cold at night, and then all the things that are hiding from the sun come out, and you can't see their ass, but they can see you.
Right.
And even things tiny as like scorpions and snakes and shit can bite you and you die. It don't even have to be something like big and menacing. And I know that it's a training exercise and that they are trying to like test to see if they're going to have the wherewithal to try to problem solve and fix this issue. And I really love how Lennier just like went straight into, like, if we gonna die, we gonna die, but we're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt that they had an emergency, and we just need to meditate and be calm and give them the extra hour to get back to us. It was great.
Right.
Part of me thought that they had actually left them for dead, and this was about to be his arc into betraying the group.
Yeah, I didn't think about that at all. I'm gonna get out of this and then kill everybody. I like it.
Yeah, it's a training exercise, and Lennier is fine. His whole thing is like, yes, we should meditate. We should enter a meditative state so we can save oxygen. It's cool. Let's just stay right here so they can find us really easy. And Findel is like, oh no, I don't know if I can do that. We need to hurry up and go. I need to find a place where I can get air. And they had already said earlier, the closest habitable planet is 3 days away. So bro is just going to be flailing in the dark until he's suffocated to death. They get closer to running out of air. Lennier's trying to keep Findel from panicking. And then out of nowhere comes the White Star. It returns to pick them up. Back on Babylon 5, Dr. Franklin, he attends the philosophical discussion of Jakar. I like that room. It's weird because like he's on this stage and this thing is built kind of like optical illusion type of thing. I don't know. And he's walking around and he's having a really good time explaining his spiritual insights about, that he's learned from his book. There is something a little bit different here that I don't know really how to explain it, but it could be a situation. Because remember the last time he was talking about his book and he had these insights, but then he had changed a lot since he wrote it down. So there are new insights that he's wanting to explore. So that could be part of why there's a question and answer session, because we have the Book of Jakar, but then you actually have Jakar there.
Well, they've been asking to see him, so
yeah. And remember, his whole thing was like, don't even worry about that book. That book is trash right now. Listen to me right now.
Isn't that what he wrote in prison?
Yeah, he wrote it in prison, and one of the things that he wrote was the Centauri could never be trusted.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he was confronted with that, he's like, I've grown since then. And I thought that was really good. That was a good way for J. Michael Straczynski to be like, yeah, just because somebody wrote it at that time doesn't mean that they believed that the entire time of that it was ever true.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what he wrote down. And their whole thing is like, no, you wrote it and the universe speaks through you. Therefore, it is the absolute truth. And he's just like, man, y'all tripping. And one of the Narn asks two questions that could be considered deep, and this actually kind of touches on what I think a lot of people do, which is they want to appear to be deep, but they're really touching on the shallowness of spirituality and enlightenment. He asked the question, what is truth? What is God? And everybody's just sitting there bright-eyed and ready to absorb his knowledge. And Jakar is like, that's a terrible question. And he's wincing. He's just like, look, all right, check it out. What you perceive as God is really a byproduct of your search for God. You have a light. The light lets you see in the dark. But if the light touches the wall, you see that the light spot is bright. That represents our search for God. People confuse that bright light in our search for God himself. He says, the more that we expand the light, the more we're able to see and understand of the unknown. And I thought this was a great explanation. I was sharing off the air. This kind of touches on what I think about humans' search for God. We have these amazing tools as for our survival. One of our great tools is guessing. Not just guessing, but prediction. And our brains are complicated. And so we fill in the blanks with the things that we predict. So you always hear the example of the rustling in the bushes. For the humans that figured, oh, that's going to be a predator to kill me, they lived to see another day because they didn't have to go and see what it was to imagine that they would die. And the ones that went to go look, eventually some of them died. They were the fearless ones, and they were like, they ran into danger, whatever it was.
They're the ones that we make the scary movies about today. Hello.
Right. The dumb ones, right? And so we carry that for hundreds of thousands of years. And instead of us being like, this is a artifact of a survival mechanism, we fill in the blanks. And what is the ultimate predator for humans? God. The one with the ultimate power that can ultimately save our souls or condemn it. It's God. And we don't see it because we can't look, but our brain still fills in the blanks. So that's just, I feel like Jakar has a really cool analogy here. Mm-hmm. But homeboy is sitting there. It's like, yeah, okay, that's all cool, but we ain't trying to listen to all that. I asked you, what is truth and what is God? And Jakar just gives up. He's like, truth is a river. And everybody's like, oh, wow. Ooh, it's so deep, so existential. Oh, my God. Yeah, so wise.
They want they want an explanation. They didn't want to have to think for themselves. They want entertainment. Which a lot of people
and they want it
mistake spirituality for entertainment.
And they want it in a language that is vague enough for them to feel like it's deep. And then he says, and what about God? God is a mouth of the river. And I don't know what any of that means. And Jakar didn't know what that means. And nobody knew what that meant. But it was vague enough for people to feel like that they heard something deep.
Well, I thought it kind of paralleled the light thing because you're looking for, when you think you found God and you see a light that's shining, you don't see the actual source of the light. So when you see a river flowing, you don't actually see the mouth of the river where the water's coming from. He just said the same thing in a different way, and they said, "Ooh, ah."
Ooh, ah. Also, the vagueness of the language is where grifters and charlatans can occupy the space because they take advantage of us not knowing a thing and sounding like they know. And Sunday and we listened to a creator who I do believe that the things that she share are really good and important, but man, she be using that grifter language that tickles that whole spider sense of mine, like something ain't right.
It be driving Damian crazy, okay? And I really like this content creator. The things that she says makes sense to me so much because I think that her and I are just generally on the same thought process and wavelength. But because she is trying to sell a product and we're inside of capitalism, she has to like give you a little bit and then pique your interest into coming to her page and then joining her organization in order to get more of the details. And Damian is just like, you're trying to snake oil me.
Well,
I've heard it before.
Where they're in the little circle and Jakar's in the middle speaking to them and in rhyme and parable. It very looks culty. It looked like not Jakar per se, but the people,
the followers,
response of the people is kind of like they could have said anything and then be like, so now you need to dedicate your entire life to me and slaves so I can make money and you get nothing. Like it was
right.
It looks like people who could just fall into a cult. Yeah, because if that's what you're looking for in spirituality, you're going to listen to anyone who puts on a good enough show. And the majority of cult leaders are just really good entertainers or really good people good at speaking, public speaking. The thing I was doing badly just now.
They're very good at public speaking. They're good at making people feel good about their search for a thing. And it's not always a search for truth. It's a search for fulfillment or a search for enlightenment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that we all have it and we build community around it. That's where we even get culture, like common beliefs. Entire societies have been built around shit people just believe.
Well, that's similar to what I mentioned before we started, where spirituality and religion in general is people trying to understand what they don't understand. So the subconscious, or the world around them, everything that we don't have a good enough explanation for becomes God of the gaps or spirits of the gaps. And the parables and the rhyme and the entertainment becomes that emotion that fills in that gap that make people feel like, oh, this is what is connecting to my spirit because my subconscious is making all these connections to the art, because art in general, or whether it's poetry or visual or music, all things that are used in spirituality, they have a wonderful way of connecting multiple thought processes. And when you have all thought processes, you're not singling them out. It's more of a collective feeling. And that's what people call the spirit. At least that's the closest to a scientific explanation I can get to what spirit is.
And don't get me wrong, like, you can hear me disparaging it, but I disparage it only because of the way that we do it in the West. people take a thing that is unknown and that can only be believed and represented as absolute concrete 100% truth, and there's no way to substantiate that. And so it makes me a little cynical when I hear that and see that depicted. But I will say it's an important part of our humanity. It's allowed us to live, survive, thrive, build community. It is a part of our human spirit. And it's important. To say that we can't have it is actually a bad thing. It's just that we should be aware that it's there, and we should be able to use it in a way that benefits us as humans. So like our spirituality and even the way that we do religion can and should be shaped in a way that allows us as humans to grow. And it should not be a thing that subtracts from us. And then that's the other thing, like spirituality, there are so many different versions of it on this planet. When you see how people do it, not just the horrible things that are done in the name of religion, but like look at the enlightenment aspects of it and how it connects to our neurology, right? It's something is actually really important. It's really is vital to us as humans to grow and to build community, and to also feel that sense of connectedness and comfort. Like we are connected to the earth, but Western society tries to pretend that we're different from the earth. And it's like our bodies literally turn into nitrogen that goes into the earth and is used by other things, right? Mm-hmm. So we're connected in several ways. Anyway, and I think the Western perspective of truth is something that we need to spend a little bit more time investigating why we have the perspective the way that we do, because I think we are being led into a dead end when it comes to that, because the way that is being taught is like there's this, basically it's like a hierarchy of knowledge. And the truth is, like if you listen to the philosophy bros and all that stuff, the furthest that many people can do is truth is what comports to reality, or justified true belief, things like that, which ultimately is like, we think we know, but it is the best that we can do because we don't really know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And so considering the fact that there's always new to learn, like when we, from a scientific perspective, whenever we learn something concrete, there's always the possibility that we can learn something else to contrast it. Like we're changing our understanding of science in so many different ways all the time, especially astrophysics, because we ain't out there to actually touch the stuff. But so truth is not as concrete as we think it is, and to make it concrete is where we stop thinking. And you mentioned before about religion not needing to be something to stop us from thinking, and it made me think of like other spiritualities, like Afro spiritualities and hoodoo, where it took an understanding of the world around you and exploring it, and in contrast to what we think of Western religions, where you have all these never-ending thought stoppers that just, this is what I told you and this is what you're gonna do. So there are spiritualities that allow you to understand, take in, and explore and change your mind constantly.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that are demonized. Those are devil ones, the ones that make you learn.
Yeah. So it's like things that stop you from thinking and investigating actually harms us as a species. And I do think that we're coming to kind of like a moment where we have to encounter and confront this. Well, yeah, we have to confront this before we blow ourselves up in the name of God.
Yeah, a lot of people be forced to confront it, or they won't eat. So
Yeah. All right. Moving on. I know we talked about that for a bit. It was fun. Vir goes to confront the Drazi fruit merchant, and he runs down with the bug, and he goes, "You bugged my bag. I need to know why you did it. You're spying on my people." And the Drazi dude treats him like a punk. He's like, "Look, we know you. We know you ain't nothing but a little bitch. you you ain't gonna do nothing, and if you even try, we're gonna smash you right here. So just run along." And Vir backs off, and he looks really hurt. And I was just like, does Vir run away? And so he he turns and he goes back to his quarters, and there's Londo. Is like, yes. What are you doing here, Vir? And Vir reaches over Londo, grabs a sword off of the wall. He goes, I need to borrow this real quick. I'll be right back. And I was just like, oh.
And this is a moment for everyone who wants to bully the quiet, the nice, the meek, the soft, the gentle, the kind, and the caring to watch your back, because Vir went ham. And I loved it. I came up off of mute and was yelling into the phone, like, let's go. He fucked the whole kiosk up. He was tearing,
like, he chopped it all the way up.
Yeah, he did. And then he put the sword right to dude's throat with the security guard standing around laughing in the background. And why security was so slow to move in to stop Vir, I don't know. But he was like, what you will do is admit what you did. Now, that would be a little coercive, so I'm not sure if him admitting to doing it, we can like take that with 100% certainty that he actually did, because the boy had a sword to his throat, so he would have said anything. But it just felt so good to see Vir stand up for himself. Like, fuck them, don't let them bully you.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
They probably was like, oh, that's a Drazi.
Like, we don't like that guy.
Well, Drazi probably did something too. The Drazi lifestyle is fighting. You put the sword to him, it's like waving your finger at him. So,
right. Yeah, you know what? I wonder how tough their skin is, because they look like they might be able to blunt a couple of swords here.
They're like coward. If what is it? If
they're jerks. They're not really. I wouldn't say they're cowards, but they're
like
they're little assholes.
In contrast to like the Klingons, where they're warriors.
Oh yeah,
They fight for different things,
honor,
but they fight for the complete opposite.
Yeah, they are very opportunistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we drop back in on the Rangers. And this is, I guess, the concluding part of the whole Lennier saga in this episode. The captain picks 4 of the trainees, including Lennier, and he's like, "Look, we're gonna do an Easter egg hunt. There are these trackers. Yeah, you got to go out there, and you got to destroy with your ships. We got 39 of them. Each of you need to shoot 10, and we'll check your score, and then." Findel is like, but you have 4 of us, and
I can do math.
Like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you're right. There are 4 of you. That means one of you is gonna come up short like a little bitch.
Yikes.
Competition ain't nothing wrong if you ain't a little bitch, is it, Findel? And Findel is like, he's about to cry.
He's a little bitch.
And Findel is like, he knows that I shouldn't be here. He doesn't want me to be here.
And this is another part that was so good when Lennier was trying to help him calm again. And he's like, you're seeing what you want to see. And he's like, you think that I'm a failure too. It's like, bro, don't hear what I didn't say.
Yeah, when that happened, he said, "Oh, the captain conceded. I shouldn't be here." And then he's like, "Well, you see that I'm going to fail too." And I'm like, he's projecting hard.
Yeah. And so they send these Rangers out in their ships, and they're in an asteroid field. It very much feels like Star Wars: Attack of the Clones, where Obi-Wan is trying to catch up with Jango Fett in the asteroid field. It's kind of it's exactly that scene, but this happened earlier, guys. Anyway, Lennier is shooting up his trackers, and we hear over the intercom the captain is keeping scores like, yeah, Lennier, you're in the lead with 4. So and so, the rest of y'all got 3, and Findel, you ain't got none of them. What's wrong with you? And he turns his comms off. We go and we see in Findel's ship, dude is freaking all the way out completely. And he's like, I don't belong here. And he's repeating one of the things that the captain said after they were quote unquote rescued. He goes, death is not the enemy. So Findel is like, yeah, death is not the enemy. So he is resolving to kill himself in this exercise. Now the part that we didn't go over is the reason why Findel is there. He had 2 family members die during the Shadow War, and both were Rangers. And he figured he was going to join the Rangers out of obligation to honor the memory of those that died. But there's one thing that's wrong. Findel is not a warrior.
No, what is wrong is that they didn't do a proper mental health check on this boy before they let him into the academy.
Yes, true. Also, his bone structure, while it appears to be warrior cast, his heart structure is not warrior cast.
Very, very good. Oh, damn. Yeah, that was a parallel that reminded me of Deep Space Nine with Nog and his dad, where this society values being good at business and being a little troll and jackass, and they are not, and they don't fit into it, but they have to go somewhere else to find their value, because they do have value, but not in the Ferengi Alliance. They don't value nothing but the physical. Dollar bill, y'all.
Right. So Findel resolves to try to run his ship into an asteroid. Lennier turns on private comms to try to connect with him, and he's being ignored. And he's gonna run into this asteroid. So Lennier takes manual control over his own spaceship. He fires onto Findel, ruins his engines, and then he runs up with, beside his ship and uses his own ship to push it out the way. They end the drill, and the captain brings him on board. He's like, we're going to debrief. You two needs to come in here. We need to talk. We got stuff to talk about. And he kind of dresses them down. He's like, but he's putting all his anger at Lennier. He's like, Lennier, I don't know what's up with you, but you tripping. First off, you fired on your own people, and then you rammed your ship into his ship, and you ruined his ability to score any points. Explain yourself, Lennier. And Lennier looks at him, and he lies his ass off.
With a whole straight face.
He's like, oh, well, he had a problem, and I didn't understand what was going on. And it seems that my controls were malfunctioning. And before I could do anything, my guns were shooting at his ship. And so I had to go manually so I could stop shooting at him. And then I, with the bad controls, I kind of bumped into him. But it's, it's okay. We're both alive. And he goes, and the captain goes, I have no choice but to fail you. And because you fucked everything up, Findel gets a neutral score. And I'm just like, oh, he gets it. He understands what's going on. And he's being gruff about it, but he's actually showing some extreme empathy here. Because instead of humiliating Findel, which, remember, Minbari don't lie unless they're protecting another Minbari. And Montoya has to understand this, and he goes along with it. With Findel, he goes, look, you're getting reassigned. You're going to go back to the Minbari homeworld, and you're going to work in the recruitment office.
And make sure don't no more yellow belly, smooth brain, bitch ass motherfucking embody make their ass to this point in the training process. You hear me?
You hear me? It's very important. You're going to do the most important job of all Rangers. And he's like, okay.
That's where he needs to be.
And then when he leaves, Montoya talks to Lennier. He goes, he thanks Lennier for his actions. And he's like, Lennier, there's something really important you need to understand. Whenever you open up a private channel, make sure nobody else is listening in on you. And so Lennier, his face got egg all over it because he's like, so you knew I lied to you and you just let it slide? Okay. All right.
That was a very roundabout way and for him to situational way for him to save him, because you could have just shot the asteroid out of the way.
I don't, you know, though, I know that a lot of these sci-fi shows show that their guns are super powerful. I don't know if they have anything powerful enough to blow up the asteroids the size of the ones that they were flying by.
I don't think he could, even if he couldn't blow it up, if he hit it at the right angle, he could have gave it some momentum to move out the way.
Yeah.
Depending on
some
how
energy.
fast.
Yeah.
But then also he could just navigate in front of it. So he would have been determined to find the asteroid to run into.
Yeah.
Yeah. It did sound a little run of the mill. I mean, run around like some reminds me of that Voltaire song about Star Trek.
So to wrap up the show, the Babylon crew, which is Sheridan, Delenn, Franklin, and Zach, they're having dinner together. They're laughing. They're talking about what Vir did, and they're having fun about that. But then they're like, okay, what are we going to do about the Centauri, though? Like, it won't be too long before people figure out that they're the ones ruining everybody else's shipping lanes. And I can't remember who it was that said it, but they said like, when we get concrete evidence, we'll let them know. We'll talk to the council. And then it goes, and then that will be the end of the alliance. And Sheridan's like, yeah, but we got a good month or two before that happens, so we can do some good up until then. And that's kind of cool, right? They're like, okay, we only have a few minutes left to do this stuff, but we're going to take advantage of it. And then they all look over to an empty space at the table. There was a fifth space there. And one of them said like, hey, so where's Garibaldi? And Delenn is like, yeah, I don't know. We sent him a message. He's supposed to be here. I talked to him. I texted him. I don't know what's going on. We see what's up with Garibaldi. Garibaldi is in his quarters, drunk, tripping balls off his mind, laying on the floor, singing a stupid song and drinking more alcohol. Garibaldi has fallen off the wagon. He is turning that bottle up. He orders a pizza. He orders a pizza because he wants a pizza, and he is giving himself over to that part of himself. We've said before, Garibaldi is an alcoholic, and I don't know, he might have been put through a good amount of stress that could push him back towards that direction. Him being shot at, being stabbed, in a coma, brainwashed, whole life ruined, stabbed again, beat up.
Yo, he's married to a billionaire. Get over it.
Oh my God. You know one thing that he's not done? One thing that he's never done? Bro has never gone to therapy.
Right.
That might have, some sort of counseling may have been helpful, but he never did it. And so now he is back
self-medicating
to his drinking ways.
Yeah.
And the show goes off. And I do make fun of Garibaldi all the time because that character is quite possibly the most useless character. But also now we have some little empathy because he's an addict. And everything that's happened to him is pushing him back towards that way of coping because he's never learned a different way of coping. So now we get to watch Garibaldi fall apart for a fifth season.
Yeah. Him ordering the pizza drunk reminded me of when I used to go to the goth club. There was a New York style pizza place like around the corner, and
Oh, nice.
stopping there, like they would be open long after the clubs were closed, but like I think they were pretty much 24/7. But like you get out there and you're drunk, you just stop by and get a pizza. Like there used to be a whole bunch of people out there like coming from the clubs to go get pizza.
Just stand in line for a slice of New York style pizza, wearing your goth shoes, all your goth gear. Yep.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Well, sometimes I would, because I only lived 3 blocks from there back in the day when I used to go. Sometimes I would be in my boots and dance around for like an hour or two, and then walk home and change into tennis shoes and come back. So by the time so when it was time for the 2 a.m. pizza, I was probably wearing tennis shoes. Yeah, that was important. So it's funny.
Yeah. I honestly, this whole episode wrapped up pretty good. I think the only thing that we can look forward to are what's going on with the Centauri and the council, right? Which we know that's been brewing in the background for this whole season. And then the whole Lennier Delenn thing. I don't like what's happening to this character. It's not terribly interesting to me. I like this episode for him, but like the overall storyline for him, not terribly interesting. A lovesick person expressing their toxic masculinity for 2 seasons is probably the most boring thing ever. So, yeah.
So he's not coping.
His obsession with right, he's not coping very well. His obsession with this person because she doesn't reciprocate the same feelings. Like I said, it's boring. Just kind of get over it. Otherwise, you're going to do what Morden said you were going to do, and you're going to betray everybody. You're going to alienate yourself because you can't get over yourself.
Mm-hmm. With
that, episode 14 is all done. I don't know what to look forward to in the next episode because I'm a little one, I can't remember, and 2, they've wrapped this one up and the last one up so good, it's hard to say like, oh, the next episode this is gonna happen. It's more or less like I want to see some more of this good writing. I want a whole season of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe because it's Lockley, we can expect some Lockley. That's about it. That's all I think.
Okay, maybe some. Oh yeah, I guess Garibaldi is gonna show up and do something stupid.
Yeah, they're going to have to confront Garibaldi about his drinking because everyone kind of noticed that it got in the way of his life. And addictions are known to be an addiction when it starts affecting your everyday life. And you didn't go out to eat with your friends. You ordered pizza.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he decided he's going to have dinner by himself anyway, so he's cool.
I don't think he remembers. He was too drunk to remember that he was supposed to go, or he was too drunk to answer his thing because she, what's her name, said that I left him a message. That doesn't mean he knows.
He did. Right, that doesn't mean he checked it. She's like, I did my part. I sent him a message. Delenn doesn't really want him there anyway. She's like, I don't think I like Garibaldi because she did hang out with him that one time during the pilot episode. They never hung out again. Yeah. So we're over halfway through with this season, and we're getting closer and closer to the series finale. Mm-hmm. I will say, like, I have enjoyed us doing this together, and I guess this is a good time for us to like commit ourselves to the next thing that we're doing.
Yay!
Would you like to share?
We are going to watch Star Trek Starfleet Academy, starting in the new Star Trek show that starts January 15th.
Yep. And that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a different pace for us, different speed. And if all goes well, we're going to invite a couple of more voices to participate as well. Mm-hmm. So you'll be hearing more voices in hyperspace talking about these fun sci-fi things that are happening. There are a lot of really cool shows that are out there, and we can't do all of them all the time, but there are some really cool ones that we're going to get our hands on. And this would be us actually talking about Star Trek.
Star Trek
we bring up Star Trek all the time. But I'm interested in it because, there are a lot of shows that are doing TOS, TNG. Some are doing, there's a lot of people doing Voyager, Enterprise, Deep Space Nine, the Kelvin universe, even Discovery. Mel was on Sci-Fi Queens, and I think Sci-Fi Queens spends a bit of time talking about some Star Trek things too. Yeah. So it's a lot of people doing Star Trek, and that's wonderful. And I know it's because people love it. And I felt like we could be doing something slightly different. I didn't realize how big the Babylon 5 space is. There are a lot of new YouTubes and podcasts that are doing the exact same things that we're doing. So I think that's really cool. We're in good company.
Yeah.
So we don't have to step on anybody's toes. I think that's great. So, but with the new Star Trek show, we're going to jump in and catch up with that one. And it's going to be a lot of fun. This might also give us an opportunity to cross over with some of these other Star Trek and sci-fi enthusiasts. And so you guys, stay dialed in to Voices in Hyperspace and join this journey with us. The great journey. Let's get on up out of here. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Voices in Hyperspace. We're on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Voices in Hyperspace. And be sure to let your friends know that we are on all of their favorite podcast outlets. That means Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music. I'm Legendary Black Lion. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Legendary Black Lion.
I'm Mel Asylum. You can find me at melsrebellion.com, and you can find me at TikTok, and my books are on Amazon, Lulu, and TikTok Shop.
Hey y'all, this is Sunday. You can find me at a poker table.
All right. So we're going to be gone for just a short amount of time. So until then, we'll see you out there. Peace.